Alright, hello everyone. We're gonna be running at least one league. I don't have that much time today, but usually on Fridays I don't have any time to stream at all. So this is kind of like a bonus stream, I guess. Um, so this is the list that I've been running for the past couple of days, and I think I want to run it one more time. We'll see how things go. The only thing that I might have wanted to change was Nature's Claim for another Rex Sage in the sideboard. Basically, there's like two situations. Nature's Claim is better against specifically when your opponent plays a Blood Moon on turn 2 or 3, because you're able to hold up mana, and even if that one green source is either a gemstone mine or like a Grove of the World Willows, you can still float the mana in response to the Blood Moon, let the Blood Moon resolves, and then blow it up. After it resolves with the green mana that you have floating. It is also better against decks like KCI in particular. On the contrary, Reclamation Sage is better because you can tutor for it. This actually was relevant yesterday or the day before. I can't remember exactly when it was. When my opponent basically played their first Blood Moon and then they played the second one, and I was sitting there with enough green mana to pay for my pact, but I just I had already used my Reclamation Sage, so I was just not able to. I was just sitting there with a Summoner's Pact in hand, but I didn't have the double green to actually go get the Primeval Titan, so I basically just died to my opponents. I think he was playing Hollow ones and stuff like that. So they definitely have their pros and cons. For this league, I'm going to run this. I'm going to try this. I was on the Nature's Claim list because I, for whatever reason, had been running into a ton of KCI. I played like 2 leagues the other day, and we played against KCI full 3 times, which was a little bit annoying. But yes, we'll go with this. I will make sure I upload the decklist command. But yeah, nothing like a good heroic 3-2, right? Starting 0-2 and then raiding back to the 3-2 to get the money back feels good. Okay. So we're gonna get this going, and I am going to take a picture of the. Oh, never mind. 1 second. Let's do this first. There we go. Okay. And this is gonna be Amulet 7 27 18. Save that on desktop. Cool. Okay. Cool. So this should be it then. Let's see if I can go check. 7 27 18. There we go. Okay, we're gonna copy this. Com deck list. Sweet. And we get paired. Perfect. Alright, here we go. Here we go. So we're on the play. Move this to the side. And we are greeted. We're greeted with a kind of sketchy hand. I mean, we have an amulet. We have ways to buy time, and we have we have a card that we can use to interact. So I'm gonna keep it. We're basically just missing a prime time here. I'm going to lead on the amulet in case my opponent is playing a discard spell deck. Jenny Tolls, thanks, man. Appreciate the good luck. Sweet. So is this good? You guys, please tell me whether this is good or not, because I'm not sure. I think the tempo boost is just so huge that I'm actually gonna do it this turn. I don't want my opponent to be able to play like a free noble hierarch or a free what's his name, champion of the parish, and then get ahead in tempo. I just think that was like such a huge tempo boost that is definitely worth it. And if my opponent just like doesn't have a second land or something, this is huge. So we can basically explosives for as much as we want. We can basically kill anything in their deck. Yep, and my opponent is stuck on mana. So that was amazing. That Rex Sage was the $1 million Rex Sage right there. Okay, that was awful. But on the plus side, there was no prime time there, so that part of this is cool. What I'm gonna do here though. We have a red mana floating. I am going to preemptively play this engineering explosives on 2 and just leave it in play. I won't crack it for now. But I want to play around my opponent's future either meddling mages or what's the name? The black dude. What's his name? I can't remember. Militia Bugler. Okay, so I guess that's a card. But yeah, I mean, I don't really care about like their dudes and stuff. Those are fine. I really only care about their like big business cards, which are the meddling mage and the freebooter. That's the card I'm looking for. And there we go. And my opponent has a freebooter, which is going to take absolutely nothing here. Another vial. Yeah, this vial now it's like it's a little bit too late. Do I want to jump here? I guess I can wait for this. There's no need to jump right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we're just waiting. Now we're just waiting. Any Azusa, any Toleria West, any Azusa, I mean any Toleria West, any Pact or any Primetime should be game over here, and we have Meddling Mage protection. Okay, yeah, that's not a good attack from my opponent, because I can just jump here, just save damage, whereas they would have had 3 guaranteed damage in the air. So I don't like my opponent's attack right there. He's like a post-combat lieutenant. Oh, Thalia. Yeah, that card is wildly irrelevant. We'll play more lands. Prime time. Yep, there we go. Okay, so this should be game over right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yep. So this should be it. And now I could transmute if I wanted to, but first of all, I don't need to yet. My opponent needs to have like exactly the guy. What's this guy's name? Reflector Mage. Yeah, he just concedes. I have like Meddling Mage or something like that already covered. My opponent needs to have like exactly Reflector Mage, and on the attack trigger, I was going to get Teleria plus Simic Growth, so I can choose whether I want to transmute for another prime time, or I could also transmute for Ballista to like start nuking down their board. So yeah, that game was very over. Okay, so sideboarding against humans is pretty straightforward. We just want all the removal. All the removal. This is removal. This is removal. This is no, not this one. This one. This is removal. So we have removal. We can side out one prime time because you want to minimize the impact of Meddling Mage. And I only like the one of Rexage, as you guys saw. That just random one of Rexage in the main that we happen to draw, which is massive that game. Like the tempo loss that my opponent suffered because of that Rexage on turn 2 was huge, and I think that is very important in this matchup. If your opponent manages to get ahead, then we can struggle. Oh, dismember, yes. But if we manage to like prevent them from getting ahead, then the chances that we win are pretty large, especially post-board when we have multiple answers to Meddling Mage. All of these are answers to Meddling Mage, and they just cannot name them all. Explorers are not great in this matchup because of Thalia. If my opponent plays a turn 2 Thalia, Explorers look really silly. And this should be good. I'm not in love with Pact because under Thalia it actually costs mana, but the fact that it allows me to go, it allows me the flexibility to be a Primeval Titan if I want to get that, or a Hornet Queen if that's what I need. If I if I'm in a situation where I need to stabilize. So that's why I do the hedge, and I definitely want the Abrades. Again, we can also kill like Ethervile if we need to, or we can just kill their dudes. Dismember's great, or sweepers, etc. So this is the configuration that I'm going to use. I could potentially bring in Obstinate Bailoff, but I don't think that I really love this card in this matchup. And this hand is great. This hand is great. We have an Azusa, we have interaction for their dudes. I think this is overall a pretty good setup. And my opponent play Coast, Vile, left that card on top. Because they left the card on top, I think I can just lead on Forest. In case my opponent plays something annoying, I can just, go ahead and dismember it. If they play a freebooter here, for example. Lieutenant, Naked Lieutenant, yeah, that one resolves. That one resolves. So here I have options. Option 1, play Steerings, see what I find. Option 2 is gonna be for me to use this turn to play the Teleria West and hold up Dismember. What this does is the next turn I am able to play Azusa of this Gemstone Man and then make both of my land drops, so I think I'm gonna go with that. I'd rather hold up the mana in case my opponent draws a Meddling Mage or a Freebooter. Okay, what do you got? Mantis Rider. If my opponent has a Rider here, I think that's what I kill. Yep, my opponent has a Rider here. Especially if they do like... Okay, that to me feels like they do not have a Phantasmal Image, which is of course good for me. Because if they had a Phantasmal Image, they would have played it pre-board to copy the Mantis Rider. Oh, they're playing a freebooter here. Were you able to show Lethal last game by playing a balance for the Titan and getting Boros and Vesuva Basano home? Yes, I was able to, but I don't think there's a need for me to, basically, if that makes sense. I think it's a way better play for me. So that was one of the options that I had, and the other option is what I was gonna do, which is to go ahead and play, do my whole shebang, and then go ahead and play. Sorry, there we go. And then go ahead and get Simic plus Doleria. The reasoning for this is if my opponent has Reflector Mage and Meddling Mage, they had 2 cards in hand plus their draw step. If my opponent plays Reflector Mage plus Meddling Mage and they name Primeval Titan, then I'm kind of, stuck there with nothing, oh no, I had the Eon 2 already. Yeah, so maybe that was also another line. I think I would much rather go for the safest line, and just go ahead and get the ballista, so I can just shoot down all of my opponent's creatures. Okay, my opponent has only the 2 cards in hand. I mean, if my opponent has a Reflector Mage, then I cannot play the Titan, right? That's the thing. That's the problem there. 5, 7. Is 5 damage worth the chump? This in 3 is like screaming Reflector Mage at me. So let's say my opponent has Drossy Mantis Rider. Next turn I take 5. Yeah, so I can afford to not chump this turn. But I do have to chump the following turn. But at that point my opponent does not have Meddling Mage mana, which means that this Prime Time is going to resolve. That's not bad either. Let's start here. Exactly. At that point, it's just like there's the only way that I lose that game is if I am, just not precise enough, basically, and I let my opponent get away with it. So what I want to is to try to prevent that from happening. Here, I think I'm gonna get multiple Colony Gardens. This is what saves me the most life. I am dead to like another Lieutenant plus I'm dead to another Lieutenant plus Reflector Mage, but it's fine. I want to get the most amount of champ blockers here, and even if my opponent deals with this, I can next turn I can transmute on Explosive for 2 and just play with my opponent. Okay, so they do not have the Reflector Mage, so at this point I just suspect my opponent has a blank in their hand. Tilted Beyond Reason, thanks for following. Sweet, so we quite easily win in 2 games there. So that was sweet. So let's update the record, and I have to update the amount of followers. Should be at 58. So when we get to 100 followers, I have a treat. So, guys, I found a Legacy Primetime deck. I saw this list, 5-0, and I'm like, I have to try this out. So basically, it's this. So this is going to be what happens whenever we get whenever we get to the 100 followers. Okay, you guys have to see this. This is a pile of awesomeness. So, we have the full playset of prime times. That's what caught my attention to begin with. Then we have not one, but two kinds of Emrakul, as well as Ulamog Legacy All-Star Repeal and Commander Staple Cyclonic Rift. So as you guys can see, we're not messing around. And then we have, you know, cantrips, crop rotation, candelabra, expedition map, piping needle and stuff. And yeah. So basically, I'm just trying to hold off from buying these four because they are like 20 bucks each. So what I figured is what I'm gonna make is this is gonna be our goal. Okay, if we make it to 100 followers, I'm actually gonna bite the bullet and I'm gonna buy the 4 show and tells. I guess the 2 Elephant Grass and the Hydroblast. I'm gonna buy the whole thing and we're gonna play it on stream to try to see how things work out. But yeah, that's gonna be the treat that we get when we make it to 100 followers. In the meantime, gotta update that record. Awesome. So want to know beating humans. Oddly enough, I do not think the humans matchup is particularly good. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is. Especially when you have the second explosives in the board. But it's definitely not a great matchup, to be fair. It's kind of awesome and super random that game 1 was basically stolen by our one-off Rex Sage. So that was really funny. So here we have no bounce land. This gives us the out to either draw an Azusa or a prime time, but we also have no amulet. We have a way to find it though. This seems like it's a good hand against like Jund or something like that, but if my opponent's on any kind of combo deck, we're dead, so I'm gonna mulligan. And this hand looks better. Of note, my opponent's also mulliganed. Best thing that we can keep on top is... No, that's not the best thing that we can keep on top. I was gonna say the best thing that we can keep on top is... Cremia, thanks for following. Sweet. But the best thing that we can keep on top is a bounce land, and because of how important it is for us to hit some kind of bounce land here, I am not going to lead on Tribe Scout. I am going to lead on Steerings. This is because if my opponent is playing any kind of discard spell deck and they actually Inquisition me or touches me on turn 1 and they take my Steerings, then I'm in a really rough spot. So I want to guarantee that I actually go ahead and find that land. If my opponent, again, is on a combo deck, I of course get punished for this play, but you know, there's no way that I can know. My opponent seems to be in control, so it's... So then it ends up being a whatever play. And here... Yeah, I think I have to play this bounce land. I think I have to do this here. And I just need to, you know, hope I draw into a bounce land in the near future. Yeah, my opponent is 100% on a control deck. Maybe they can be on the Pyromancer Ascension deck. Maybe. But in any case, I need to start playing faster. Usually these kind of matches end up going really long. Is my opponent considering pathing this Tribe Scout? If they do, yes. Yes, that's awesome. That's great for us. That's so good for us. And they even path it in main phase to make it even better for us. Give me a bounce land here. Nope. That's a bad draw. I'm gonna take this chance to resolve my Amulet and pass the turn. Now we show my opponent that we do not have another land, which is very, very unfortunate. Detention Sphere. Funny enough, I can blow that up if I wanted to. Not really sure I want to though. So if my opponent plays Jace, if they untap and play Jace, I'm in a really rough spot. So the only way that I have to play around that is by playing a Ballista and making sure it resolves on this turn. So I'm going to do that. Hey Andrew Cooper, Amulet, play Bounce Land, Explore. Yeah, I don't know which are you talking about, like 2 turns ago? So now I'm gonna be coming in for 2. And there's no need really for me to play anything here. I can just like, you know, pass the turn, wait for my opponent to use their mana, and I can just like start pumping this Ballista if I want to. Condemn. So actually I am actually interested in keeping this card in my deck. So I'm going to let the Condemn resolve. Because later in the game, this might actually be, you know, I might be able to kind of destroy my opponent out of the game. I'm going to play Azusa here. Hopefully my opponent counters her. It's important to note that... Oh, I just played Scout. Oh yeah, that was also an option, but I don't think it really matters though. Because I want to like wait and see what my options are first. V-click. Okay, so this can actually be terrible for my opponent right here. Let's see what they take. What this is telling me, what this is kind of screaming at me, is that they do not have a Cryptic Command. So we have 2 Prime Times. They should not take anything here. The correct play from them is to not take anything. Because if I draw any untap land, then I just destroy them. And I can also use this turn to drop an Explosives on 3, which would blow out both of their things. I'm mostly interested in killing the click here, because I don't want my opponent to have a clock on me. And if the game goes long, then that, you know, unless they have a Planeswalker going, if the game goes long, that favors me. It doesn't favor them. Okay, so my opponent is giving this a long thought, which makes sense, honestly. At this point, both Condemn and Detention Sphere tell me that my opponent is on straight blue-white, not on blue-white-red, which I kind of think it's worse for us. I think blue-white is a worse matchup for... Yeah, my opponent is... they figure it out. They realize that is the best play for them is to not do anything. So Azusa comes in. You want to trade? You sure you don't want to trade? Please trade. Yeah. Sweet. So that's cool. That's even better. I don't even need to play the AE now. And if my opponent plays a Jace, I can actually just EE on 4 and blow it up. So this is way better for me. I'm actually really happy that my opponent took that trade right there. Now they tap out for Jace. And as I was saying, I can... Of course, the best possible thing would be for me to draw a land, preferably an untapped land. Okay, that's bad. That's really bad, actually. So white, green, blue, red. Explosives on 4. On the plus side, my opponent did not brainstorm that turn. Oh, I guess they plus their Jace, and they bottom the card. So I guess that we were drawing a land. Now they are brainstorming. I guess they're looking for an answer for explosives. They need to find the answer right now. I guess they need like a second detention sphere. This mana screw is rough. This mana screw is rough, though. I have to say. Okay, so that's a prime time. What could my opponent have? My opponent could have Mana Leak. Yeah, I think I'm not going to play Primeval Titan this turn. My opponent did not... My opponent did not do anything last turn. What I'm considering here is transmuting for a cavern. But transmuting for a cavern is going to cost me my land drop. Is going to cost me my gemstone mine. I think it's worth it. We have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have still 21 lands in the deck. I think it's worth it for me to transmute and make sure that I hit my cavern here. Even though now we're back, you know, on 5 mana, right? But now this prime time is guaranteed to resolve. And if once the prime time is guaranteed to resolve, you guys know what happens. So best possible draw for me would be any single land in my deck. Any single land basically prevents... Ooh, Terminus. Wow, it's good to know that my opponent is actually playing Terminus in their deck. But if I draw any land, then this I can, you know, use the second land drop to cast this, and then I can go get Bojuka Bob to stop this Search for Ascanta from flipping. Wow, my opponent Wraths there. That's aggro. I think I want to tap like this. Bounce land would be pretty good. Or Tribe Scout, sure. So my opponent is flipping Ascanta next turn. And we're in trouble. I really need to find something now. And as you guys see, even though my opponent knows about this, I'm just sandbagging this because I don't want my opponent to be able to Field of Ruin it. Teferi. Okay, this is trouble. Yep. Now we are in a tough spot. Wow. Jeez. This is really tough. Lots and lots of lands in my deck, I swear. Now with my opponent drawing 2 cards a turn, I very, very much want to... are they going to counter this? Like Logic Knot it or something? That's fine. I don't care. Yeah, they're gonna Logic Knot it. That's fine. I don't think that matters. Terminus. Okay, that, if we don't draw a land, that actually kind of forces me into playing these Cavern of Souls out right now. Which sucks. Oh. Yeah, so I guess I'm really forced into playing this Cavern now. Jesus! If my opponent EOT bounces my Simic Growth, that can be rough. They drew a Serum Visions. Okay. They activate the Fairy. I assume they play Serum Visions. Yeah, this is what I always say, which is the way that we lose this matchup. Is my opponent starts accruing card advantage with their engines, and we just get stuck on something. In this case, what we got stuck on is mana. We've been 1 mana short for so long. it's really funny how long we've been stuck on just the 5 mana. Maybe it was bad for me. Wow! This is freaking ridiculous. This is completely absurd. Okay, that's great. My opponent wasting their Cryptic Command there is great for me. I'm going to just use my turn to be like, oh, never mind. I definitely drew another land, but I guess I'm going to replay this one. Well, I guess replaying this one basically says that I did not draw another land, so never mind. And we know that the next card is going to be an Amulet, so there's still no land for us. My opponent also is smart, and they did not plus to bottom my Amulet. Yeah, I think we're achieving the point of death. They bottom 2 cards. So I'm going to do... we're not dead on the waters yet, okay? We're going to, I guess eventually we're going to start, drawing some things. Okay. Cryptic, bounce, Simic Growth. Now this is a terrible mistake from my opponent. This is on draw step. So I cannot fetch Azusa this turn. So if I get Azusa, I can make it up to 5 mana. Shit. If I get Rex Sage, I cannot play it this turn, so that's also not an out. And now my opponent is actually going to be untapping. I think it's better for me to just play the land. And just, bounce the cavern. And just pass the turn. This is worse if I happen to draw exactly... If I happen to draw exactly a bounce land, this is bad. My opponent has been a little bit too liberal with their Cryptic Commands though. Jeez, they're up to 9 cards in hand. That's pretty crazy. They're about 3 minutes behind on clock though, so that's good for me. Okay, yeah, that's bad. That's really, really bad for me. My opponent eventually did draw their Field of Ruins. It's very, very rough when out of 28 lands in the deck, we only find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we actually only found the 6th one because I transmuted for it. So that's really tough. I guess my opponent's going to draw step, Field of Ruin me. Yeah, for sure. Tell me about it. I'm gonna play this, and now I guess my opponent is going to Field of Ruin my Simic Growth. I think. You're going to activate Ascanta. You just discarded the Terminus to hand size. That's absurd. Oh, they found another Terminus. So they have the full playset of Terminus. I wonder if they also have like Supreme Verdicts and stuff. Jeez, up to 10 cards in hand. No big deal, opponent. Don't worry about me. So basically I just need to deal with this Teferi. So I guess now on draw step they do need to destroy the semi-growth. Or maybe they are expecting to destroy the... I think what they are doing is they are expecting to destroy the cavern. That has to be it. They are expecting to like wait for me to play the cavern and then destroy it. Yep, that's what they're trying to do. Giant. Alright, on turn 15, our 28 land deck drew the 5th land. No rush. No rush whatsoever, don't worry about that. At this point, I'm not going to get Ghost Quarter, it's just not worth it. I'm going to get Bojuka Bog to blank my opponent's Snapcasters, and I'm going to get Vesuva, see what my opponent does. If my opponent... Nice. Sweet. My opponent let that resolve for whatever reason. So that's good for us, obviously. I guess my opponent's gonna realize now that they made a pretty bad mistake. I guess they can still like bounce my Vesuva and destroy the Field of Ruin. Okay, we'll see what my opponent does here. They're gonna like Snapcaster Path? Yep, they're gonna Snapcaster Path. My opponent discarded some like actual good cards here. That's fine. Gonna get my second forest. We drew out of Mana Screw, guys. This is exciting. So my opponent has another Snapcasters? No, he does not. Okay. Yep, he has another Snapcaster. They're gonna opt. At this point, my opponent has like so many sources of card advantage that I just don't think... Oh, they just targeted an opt and did not cast it. Sounds good to me. Gonna play my 1-2 and pass the turn. And then we have 1, potentially 2 Primultanos coming up next turn. Counter draw. Yep. Yeah, my opponent has been making a lot of suboptimal plays. Right there, they should have bounced my Vesuva and destroy my with the Field of Ruin, destroy my cavern. That would have been the correct play for them to make. Or they can just draw the second Field of Ruin. That's fine. Yep. So both caverns die. That's of course very bad for me. My opponent has so many islands. Wow, is my opponent about to deck themselves? I guess they cannot deck because of the Teferi. So how does it work if they activate Jace, for example, and they have only 2 cards left in their library? Do they just lose the game? Because that would be hilarious. I guess at that point he starts plusing Jace instead of drawing cards. But still, I feel not so bad. I mean, we are not in a good spot, of course. Now my opponent actually has 4, 5, 6. Now they have like actual counterspell mana, and I don't have a cover anymore, so I just need to basically be jamming my prime times into counter magic for no reason. This logic knot, because that would feel bad. Yeah, logic knot feels bad. But I somehow keep not drawing lands. This is impressive. One of these Summoner's Pacts also is just a dead card. One of these Summoner's Pact cannot get a Primeval Titan. So it's just, you know, just a blank. I guess it can be a Reclamation Sage to destroy the Detention Sphere, but that just does not matter right now. Let's see what we draw here. Blue Pact would be okay. I don't think it matters at this point. I guess Semi-Growth, so I can like keep exiling their stuff. Yeah, that... I don't think that's relevant though. So play a pact. I guess I'll fetch an Azusa. Whoops. Play Semi-Growth. Flow 2. They have a Colonnade right there. Play this. See if my opponent lets me do this. They do. Alright. Bog you. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They cannot be out of counter magic. I guess they are out of counter magic. They need to have more cryptics though. Jeez. Oh shit. My prime time just resolved. Opponent! What are you doing over there? Holy crap. Okay, I'm transmuting for Blue Pact here. Do we have a chance to win this game? That just cannot be true. We can... There's no way we win this game. Right? How many paths did my opponent do this? They discarded all their terminuses, termini. Be bigger. There we go. They use 1, 2. So they have to have another path here. They have to have another path. Yeah, I'm gonna let this resolve, and I'm gonna go in a counter this. I guess because of, you know, another path, I should have hasted the Azusa there and forced my opponent to Terminus next turn. But I just don't want to be there to, you know, then like Field of Ruin in my... Oh, they have another path. Okay, that one is actually really good for me. Them wasting a path on an Azusa. So next turn I pay 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I guess it's not over. I guess it's not over. I guess they're gonna put a card on top. They're gonna leave a Terminus on top. Colonnade is getting in there. Yep. So that's 8. That's a 2-turn clock. Of note, Ballista is still in the deck. Ballista is still in there. Field of Ruin. Okay, that is huge. That one is huge. I cannot stop that one, and if they actually happen to destroy my stronghold, then I'm in trouble. So I'm gonna pay 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. I guess Kalni is not awful. Draw step, stronghold, yep. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Minamo, School at Water's Edge. Sure, opponent. Primeval Titan. I mean, I'm going for it. We'll see what happens. I don't have many options anyway, right? Just have to do this and hope it's good. Also, Vesuva is dead now. I actually want to counter the snap. They have the negates. Okay. So then, that is lethal. I am going to be stealing as much clock as I can. I mean, I guess I can play a Ballista on some. Kill 3 snaps. And then my opponent has yet another. Yes. No, I can actually only kill 2 snaps. Actually, just the 1 snap. So we do this. Bounce. Transmute. Ballista. Play. Pay 2. Ballista on 1. Done. But I think my opponent has lethal anyway. This was a crazy game. The fact that we almost got there, it's kind of impressive. Opponent has 4 cards left in library. That's hilarious. Just the 4 cards. My opponent's going to get there exactly lethal. I'm gonna block this and kill the ugly snap. Wow, opponent went the extra mile to have like the most mismatching snapcaster. Non-foil, foil, original, and then the third one is just... Oh, thanks Benji, yeah. No, right there it was purely clock. I honestly did not think that I was drawing light, but then somehow we were still in it. So that was weird, but you know, I don't expect that to be the case. Second cavern, of course, comes in. Grove can come out. Probably Fountain can come out too. In this matchup, I really like Tribe Scout. The only way that my opponent has of getting rid of her is actually with Path. I guess they have Condemn, but I can just not attack into Condemn, and that's fine. I want second Rex Sage because it kills both Detention and Damping Sphere, as well as Search for Ascanta. It also kills... I think that's it. But that's enough. And just the 1 explosives is fine. I don't think I want the second one. And the one of Ballista is great. I want all my threats. It's very important to get ahead on the early game. You can side add 1 Styrics and 1 Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact is not great because of this spell, This is literally like the only 4 cards that dispel counters, but usually my opponents bring in dispel anyway, so that's why I don't want to, have a ton of this. And I used to side out all my amulets before Jace and Teferi were a thing, but now that Jace and Teferi are a thing, as I was saying, what we need to be doing is we need to be getting ahead of them before what happened that game happens, okay? Before my opponent starts drawing a million cards and they just start getting ahead on card advantage. I still don't want to draw, more than 1 amulet in every game. I guess, if I draw 2 amulets in the first 1 or 2 turns, then that's cool, of course, because that's usually just the win. But yeah, now I'm gonna start playing much faster. We are ahead on clock, but not by that much, and this is a fine starting hand. So Scout, this is one of the matchups where I really miss Tireless Tracker. But this hand, that's exactly what I say that I wanted to be doing, which is getting ahead in the early game. Yep, we draw a Primeval Titan. That's awesome. So play Scout, play Semi-Growth, protecting this, and bounce. Pass the turn. And now I can start getting ahead on mana, like super fast. I guess I didn't play around Terminus there. Probably should have played around Terminus. Whatever. Search for Ascanta, that's fine. That's a fine draw. I guess I can use this to transmute now, which is great. So I can transmute for a blue pact. And just get ahead and stay ahead. Pass the turn here. My opponent has their Ascanta trigger. And now I have an uncounterable primetime on turn 4, which should be pretty damn good. And I even have packed backup. What is this? Detention Sphere, yeah. I guess my opponent's gonna do this. That's fine. I'm going to play Cavern. I guess I want to copy their Colonnade. Yeah, I think I want to copy their Colonnade for now. So, Celestial Colonnade. They already play the land, so I do not expect Field of Ruin. I'm running Giant with this. Cool. Detention Sphere resolved. So now my opponent basically wasted a Detention Sphere on 2 Tribe Scouts, which is of course great for us. And now I am of course gonna be setting up my next prime time with extra blue sources and Teleria West. I guess I could have bounced Celestial Colonnade to have yet another bounce land in hand and protect my Cavern. So maybe that was a small misplay there. But now we have 2 Caverns, so it's perfectly fine. I don't really care if my opponent uses their turn. Path my prime time. I think this is fine. That's a pretty good draw. Pretty good draw. So I guess I forced my opponent to not cast whatever it is that they were expecting to cast this turn. Primeval Titan, or I could Rurik too. Nah, prime time. Make sure it's uncounterable. So this is... And now I'm going to float green from here. Leave red floating. Yep. So now I can go get Bounce Land plus Stronghold and kind of force my opponent into using Field of Ruin this turn. And I can get, I guess, Ghost Squatter. Do I want to be doing this? I might just not want to be doing this. I might just go, yeah, I think I'm just going to go get more extra blue sources and just set up future prime times. Ghost Squatter. What are you gonna field? Cavern? Yep. That's perfectly fine. Okay. I think I want to bounce Colonnade here. Nah, I'm gonna bounce Ghost Quarter. I think I want to still develop my mana. Explore. Asusa. I'm not going to play Asusa. I'm going to resolve Explore though. Okay, sure. So I have enough green mana that my opponent cannot stop me from paying for Impact, and I have 4 blue sources, so my opponent is very unlikely to stop me from, you know, from this pack too if I want to. So I should be in a reasonable spot right here. I should be in a reasonable spot here. Path my Primeval Titan. Do I want to pack this? I don't think I do. This resolves. Spellpeer. That one is a good one. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna transmute. For another Summoner's Pact. Just keeping the chain going. And I want to hold up Spellpeers this turn because this could be at the Fairy turn. So I think I'm just going to hang in here. And actually pact on the following turn. I'm thinking my plays a little bit too much. I was like 4 or 5 minutes ahead of my opponent, and now I'm only 2 minutes ahead. Why would you destroy that one instead of one of the untapped ones? That doesn't make much sense, but I'll take it. So next turn I'm for sure prime timing now because I want to prevent that Ascanta from flipping. My opponent is about to get, you know, about to make a critical amount of land drops. Okay, what you got here? Nothing. Okay. Summoner's Pact. Primeval Titan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I guess. This guy. Maybe I should have transmuted for a second Cavern. I think I want to pact the Cryptic. And now, if my opponent tries to do anything, I can Spell Pierce whatever it is that they do. I'm for sure getting Bog. Plus, I guess, Garrison. Yeah, Bog plus Garrison feels good here. This basically blanks their future snaps. And it also prevents their Ascanta from flipping. So it's kind of like double value. And I'm going to transmute my last Tulare West. Probably for yet another Summoner's Pact. Colony Garden. And pass the turn. So I have 3 blue sources. Actually, this was a slight misplay. If my opponent has like Cryptic plus Field, well, I guess I can pierce the Cryptic. Yeah, I'm piercing this. So there are both pacts. I'm gonna pay for the blue pact first. So that's the blue pact. And this is the green pact. Swing. Yeah, now my opponent's letting my clock go down, which is smart on their side. I don't think I want to show them that I have a second Cavern. So I'll just do this and set up for the kill next turn. This might be a little bit too loose, since now I don't have any more counter magic in hand. But I don't want to play into Supreme Verdict or something like that. I guess this is tap draw. Yep, that's tap draw. That's fine. Tap draw is fine with me. No cryptic for you. Steer into Walking Ballista. That's a good one. Any order. And now I'll pact for Rurik. So even if they manage to like stop my things, they're taking 6, and then Ballista is very lethal next turn. Yep, take 6. Gonna brainstorm. I don't understand that. You need to bounce the Rurik. Yep. Okay. Yes, I could have used my manland, but I wanted to. I wanted for them to, if they have another cryptic, to do that. But honestly, I was playing. We are quite right now. We got to the point where we're actually, you know, not so far ahead on clock anymore. So I wanted to make sure that we don't lose to the clock. So I'm going to probably I won't be talking too much right now, even though I cannot help it. Keep. Yes, please is the name of this hand. Best thing that could happen is my opponent like plays Search for Ascanta on turn 2. That would be so much gas. Okay, this is actually better. Let's start there. If my opponent plays a Search here, I would be so far ahead. Oh yeah, baby. 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 And I think it's worth to not hold up Spell Pierce for this turn, because this is such a blowout. We are both in like really fast mode, and this should be good for me. Land number 1. Land number 2, and we're still holding up Spell Pierce. I should have enough mana to do everything I want to be doing and win the game in the 4 minutes that I have left. Boom. I want to protect my stronghold here. These are the draws. My opponent is just like playing for the lag, I guess. Ten, sure. Play Explore, play my Ghost Quarter, pass the turn. Verdict would be good here. Do you have the Supreme Verdict, opponents? They do not. No, I never, and this is something that I recommend you guys do, never ever yield to the amulet triggers. If you auto yield to the amulet triggers, they will go on the stack automatically, and they, you know, sometimes the bounce trigger would go on the stack first, and sometimes it would not. And if you happen to have like a double amulet and you forget that you were auto yielding to amulet, you are going to have a bad time. Trust me, you're going to have a bad time. So I never, ever, ever, under no circumstance, auto yield to the amulet trigger. I just basically play with my left hand on the F2 to click, you know, as soon as I can. But yes, do not ever auto yield to amulet triggers. All right, so current overall record 40-12. It's not too bad. It's a pretty reasonable win percentage. We're 2-0 on this current league. Let's see if I missed any followers. Cremia, I think I missed your follow. Sorry about that. Thanks for following. And Tapioca Warrior also, I think I missed your follow. And Overonyx, even though that he followed 14 hours ago when I wasn't streaming. But yeah, thanks for the follows, guys. Yeah, that was a sweet match, and it really showed what is actually important in the matchup. You know, I think it really showed like the difference between us struggling and leaving, you know, enough time for my opponent to do their thing, and, you know, then eventually being able to draw out of their mana screw, and then, you know, actually being able to overrun us because our mana screw was even worse than theirs. So this hand is exactly one bounce land away from a turn 3 Primeval Titan attacking turn 3 Primeval Titan. Sorry, I'm doing this. I just want to see whether I missed any follows. Guess I should have just the second tab open to check on this. Why is it not showing? Okay, it's not showing me the amount of followers, so never mind. This is a super sketchy hand. I'm gonna keep it because it's just such a high upside, and I also get to play my Amulet on my turn 1, which is pretty good too. So turn 1 Amulet, into turn 2 play Kalni, play Sakura Tribe Scout, and we're playing against Tron. Okay, so this is a hand that I would 100% keep against Tron. This is actually the kind of hands that you want to be keeping against Tron without going any further. Here I'm going to Tribe Scout here. It allows us to prime time both cards. You know, this is better if we don't draw exactly a land off of this Explore, because it allows me to prime time next turn. And this is what we're looking for against Tron. We just need to get better fast, to get there fast. Okay, so I need to draw a bounce land here, otherwise I'm dead. That's pretty much the name of the game. We didn't see a bounce land, so we're dead. The game is over. That's really unfortunate. Maybe this was a greedy keep, but again, knowing that I'm playing against Tron, this is 100% a keep. Against Tron, you just cannot beat... Exactly, they always have the turn 3 Karn, because that's what Tron players do. They don't play a deck. They only play a deck that allows them to get lucky. And this is what Tron players do. You know, they just had the natural Tron. They didn't even need to search for any of the pieces or anything like. They just had, you know, casual natural turn 3 Tron, and that was it. Yeah, we cannot beat this. Yep. So let's just go on to the next game. Again, this is one of the crazy ship. Thanks for following. I think we're kind of like at 60, but I'm not actually sure. Maybe we're at 60, maybe we're at more. I don't even know. Anyway, that's just Tron doing what Tron does. It's not really any further explanation needed. So what do I want? I want everything. I want my opponent I want my deck to be a lean, mean machine. I want no nonsense. All I want is 3 spell pierces. I don't want a braids. I want the one of Rexage because we can sometimes, transmute for it and blow up a no stone, or maybe it's correct to just go ahead and blow up like a Wormcoil engine or something. But Rexage is not stellar. I like Tracker in this matchup, so when I had a one of Tracker in the board, I used to bring in the Tracker and side out one of the Explorers. But I don't want any non-business card. Okay, Rudiktar is a trap. Don't bring in Rudiktar. Do not bring in Rudiktar. This card is not good enough. This card is just not good enough. So usually you want to resolve your first prime time, and then if you happen to resolve your second one, that should be game over. And that if not, that's first prime time. Usually Ghost gets packed, and that is game over. Don't mess around with Rurik. It's just not worth it, and it doesn't win the game. They can very easily win through a Rudiktar. So don't make your deck worse by playing cards that are not lands, cards that dig or ramp. So here we have more lands than before. This is still very slow against Tron. Even if we draw an Amulet, we have no bounce land. So we do have the Azusa, but this is just not a good enough draw against Tron. So we're gonna mulligan. And this hand is way worse. But I think I'm kind of like forced to keep this because we actually have like multiple. No, I cannot keep this. This hand does nothing. Yep, this hand does nothing. I'm gonna mulligan to 5. And this hand is terrible, but I am forced to keep this one. At least if we draw exactly bounce land into bounce land, we're in a good spot. Maybe. No, we might still be too slow. But we need to draw basically. I guess the best draw would be untap land into bounce land into bounce land. That would be the best sequence for us. Because even Amulet they can very easily interact with, and I think we're gonna die here if we don't see a land. Okay, that's not the worst. Not the absolute best, that close enough. Close enough to make me want to keep playing at least. Does my opponent have the turn 3 Tron? Second tower. At least that's not turn 3 Tron, I guess. Alright. I need to draw. I want to see all lands. Okay. So there's a chance here. There is a chance. There actually is a chance. We might be able to get there in a multi-5. Yeah, Tron. Honestly, Tron is not a bad matchup. It's basically as 50-50 as it gets. Sometimes you win, sometimes they win. And that's just the way it goes. A note that I didn't explore there, because if we draw another bounce land, I want to keep bounce land as a live draw. Yes! Yes! Fuck yeah! Okay, so what we get here is bounce land plus Ghost Quarter. Okay, keeping them off Tron. And it's gonna be a blue bounce land because I want to have the max amount of blue sources. So next turn I can, with the attack trigger, I can go get the blue pact. I want to bounce Ghost Quarter and replay it. The question is, do I draw step this? Or do I do this now? So I just explained why I did Azusa over Explore. That playing Azusa makes that if I draw a bounce land, it's also allowing me to prime time on turn 4. If I play Explore, then I'm gonna be 1 land short. Does that make sense? Because Azusa also gives me 2 land drops on the following turn, whereas Explore just gives me the one land drop on this very turn. Does that make sense, Benji? Okay. Azusa is coming in. This is for sure. But you know, usually the Tron matchup is not grindy at all. It's kind of over like last game, or it's gonna be like this game where it's gonna be, you know, a small amount of turns but very intense turns when a lot of shit happens. So I can take a minute to think this through. So the disadvantage of doing this on their draw step is that this basically gives them it gives them the 1 mana, and it gives them also the mana from the land. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I think I just go Squatter here, so they cannot do anything at their end of turn. They just have the Sylvan Scrying, okay. So I guess it wouldn't have mattered. That's the bottom line. It would not have mattered. Let's see what we draw. So many explores. Okay, I'm gonna start exploring. Yep. I'm going to explore with this one here. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so we got both of our bases covered. So then Prime Time is going to get... we cannot really beat Resolved Ulamog, so I want to have max amount of blue sources in play. So I am... if my opponent plays Ulamog, then they cannot play Ghost Quarter on the same turn or any shenanigans like that. So I'm just going to go get double Simic Growth. Is that correct? No, actually I'm going to get Simic Growth plus Gemstone. The reason I'm doing this is because the Gemstone is going to allow this Prime Time to come down next turn and to be hasty. I guess I'll bounce this, sure, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So I hope that all my reasoning is making sense so far. This is pretty funny. 6 land drop plays remaining. Okay. T-West. What can I T-West for that matters? I don't think there's anything that really matters that I can T-West for. I guess yet another Prime Time. I cannot play Titan of Double Bound. I guess, yeah, I guess that's an issue. The problem is I don't want the Ulamog to exile both of my Titans. I'm pretty confident that Ulamog is going to be coming down next turn, and if that's the case, I don't want him to be, you know, stripping down both of my Prime Times. That's why I did this. I guess I want Vesuva, and I have yet another blue source. Alright, my opponent's gonna EOT Expedition Map, which is fine. They're gonna find their final Tron piece. And they're probably going to Ulamog me. And then depending on what they exile with Ulamog is gonna be my play. Okay, so there's the Ulamog. Just as we saw it. Is this good for me? No, this is not good for me. Okay, so that is fine. Back to Ulamog. Sure, that's irrelevant. Okay, so on upkeep, I pay for my blue pact. And we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have exactly enough mana to haste this prime time. So I pay 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, getting the gemstone mine last turn was huge. So here I am exiling. I'm getting Stronghold and I guess Boros Garrison. Bouncing Slayer Stronghold. Playing this as my land for turn. And then we have white mana there. And I guess something like a World Breaker. I mean, second Ulamog would be really rough actually. It's gonna be actually quite tough to beat second Ulamog. But I'm gonna get the same thing here. Bounce land plus Teleria. And I'm gonna bounce it Teleria, so I have another prime time coming down next turn. This was off a multi 5. This was coming off a multi 5. So we'll see what my opponent has now. Hopefully Ulamog was like their only unbeatable payoff. Oh, they just have a second one. Sure. Sure. No big deal. Just casually have the second Ulamog just chilling there. Of course. Of course. Why wouldn't they? They even... Did they already play a land for turn? Because they didn't even get the fucking Sanctum of Ogun. I guess that was their land for turn. Yeah, sure, dude. Tron players, dude. Tron players. I think we beat every single other thing they could have. I think we beat every single other possible thing. We beat it. But second Ulamog is the only thing that we actually struggle to beat. If they have O-Stone, we beat it. If they have Wormcoil, we very easily beat it. But Ulamog is like exactly the single thing that we cannot beat. Ugin, we very easily beat. Karn, we very easily beat. We just beat everything except for exactly second Ulamog. Literally the only card that we cannot beat here. So I guess I'm setting up like another Titan next turn. Because this one is actually going to go get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, so I'm a mana short. I'm playing this Rex Sage just as a body. Why is my opponent letting me resolve that Rex Sage trigger instead of X Sage? Tron opponents, dude, they don't even need to play well to win. They just yep, Ballista. This situation just doesn't happen really often. So Ballista is just a bad card in the matchup unless exactly this happens, which is not very likely at all. So that's rough. Okay, what stupid card do you have now, opponent? Thought not Seer. Yeah, sure. Get my summoner's pact. Also Karn? Sounds good. Sounds good. Ballista on 1. I'm not blocking because, you know, I am dying to be decked. I don't think I can draw anything at this point. I guess if I drew exactly prime time, and did they exile my double strike land? They did exile my double strike land. Yeah, so I have no outs here. I'm just gonna die. Gonna give my opponent the GG's. and move on to the next match. We moved to 5 and we were going to beat turn 4 Ulamog or turn 5 Ulamog. But my opponent just had, you know, exactly everything they could have wanted. My experience is that that was actually 0-2. My experience is that it doesn't really come up that often at all. Hive mind him. I mean, they could pay for green pact anyway. They could pay for green pact anyway. Jeez, that loss kind of stings a little bit. That loss is a little bit annoying. Like my opponent having exactly the perfect cards. Okay, this is a classic extremely high upside draw that I'm gonna keep, but I might get greatly punished by. So we'll see. Alright, Benji, thanks for stopping by. Take care. We've been on the play every single match, I think. Another blue-white control player? Okay, so we're gonna get punished by our play. I'm not playing the second amulet yet because I don't want to, you know, just jam it into like detention sphere or something. Ascanta, okay. Bounce land. Nope. Again, we are only drawing towards bounce land, and if we drew, I don't want to play my second amulet into a detention sphere, so we're just chilling here. We're just chilling here. Bounce land. Steerings, I guess that is something. I assume my opponent counters this. They cannot not it though, so that's cool. It's a good draw. Play my land for turn. I should have used the Tribe Scout first. Yep, my opponent's gonna path my Tribe Scout now. And they know I don't have a land. That was a misplay. I should have used my Tribe Scout ability first. I think we should be fine anyway though. So I'm going to do this. Bounce this. So I'm going to first play an amulet. Then I'm going to explore. Now I'm going to play Semi-Growth as my land for turn. There's so much control in Magic Online lately. I wonder why. Azusa. Another land drop. So we can even do all of this with Blue Pact backup. Yeah, oh, my opponent just taps out, so that's fine. Okay, so we win. We win. And that's what I was saying with it was an extremely, you know, extremely high payoff hand. And I do tend to keep these hands when the payoff is this big. It just feels like it's worth to keep a sketchy keep. So I'm going to get Summoner's Pact. I'm getting Primeval Titan. My opponent just got it. Okay, so that was game 1. I appreciate my opponent not making me go through it. And we're gonna use a similar cyber plan, but I will be right back. And we're gonna go through. Forgot to turn my audio back on. So I think this is what we did last time, or at least it's pretty similar. Again, in this matchup, I like Tribe Scout over Azusa because again, the only way to kill them is by using Path, and if they are using a Path on a Tribe Scout, I'm actually really happy about that. Or the other option is for them to this sphere, which I'm also extremely happy about. Also, with the help of Bounce Lands, Tribe Scout allows us to play around Field of Ruin very effectively, basically turning it into a... there we go. They one bottom, one top. Basically, it turns Field of Ruin into my opponent, taps 3 mana to sacrifice a land. This is of course a very important thing. Okay, Scout can be cast off a turn 1. Cavern is a turn 1 and tap green source to cast Tribe Scout. That's why, in some matchups where there are other lands that are also relevant, like against humans and stuff, I'd rather keep this over something like, I don't know, something like... I'm actually going to protect my Cavern here and then pass the turn over something like Bojuke Bog, just because being an untap land. We'll see if my opponent... oh yeah, please do it, opponent, please do it. Ugh. Oh, we can get him too. Oh yeah. Oh baby, oh baby. The value is real. Get out of here, Snapcaster. Get out of here. No value for you, sir. That's a pretty good draw. So here we're transmuting for, I guess, Blue Pact. Blue Pact is looking pretty good on this board. Get Pack a Negation. I love how we are severely one-upping my opponent at every step. Just like grossly doing it. I'm gonna happily take 2 here. You got it. What do you got next, OP? What do you got next? If they play a land and tap out for a Jace or something, I'm gonna let it go. Okay, here. I can flash in a Simigrowth. Okay, my opponent activates Field of Ruin. They destroy my Simigrowth. That leaves me with 1, 2, 3, 4. No, because it forces me to bounce a land. So that's actually like minus mana for me, I guess. So I'm going to let this go here, and I'm going to untap. See what my opponent does. And actually, like, I can even play this super slow here if I want to. Yep. Yep, my opponent's biting the bullet. Gotcha. So my opponent basically spent their turn 4, I think, and a land which they missed a land drop last turn, and they end up with nothing. They just strip mine themselves. So yeah, that was, I guess, holding up and not activating Scout at the end of turn was definitely the correct play. I think I'm going to play my Cavern here, because if my opponent actually uses the turn... that was a mistake. That was a mistake. Now I don't have... oh no, I do have blue mana up, never mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can still play an uncounterable prime time next turn. So they have a Further Strand, that's fine. Taking 2 like a boss. And now it's gonna... now the path stream is gonna start happening. Alright. Primeval Titan in the house. I'm gonna hold this Simigrowth in hand, and I'm gonna get Boros Garrison plus Teleria West. Guess I'm gonna bounce Cavern? Probably gonna bounce Teleria. Just keep it in hand. Alright. Pass the turn. Again, I think there's a ton of value in holding up. There's definitely more value in holding up Sakura activation than in... there's more value in that than in actually the 1 point of damage. I don't think the 1 point of damage is going to be relevant. Not with the board as it is. With my opponent missing land drops, I guess I made it to 4 mana finally. So here we have a protection from whatever bounce spell. This is gonna be so good. This is gonna be so good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this. Yeah, yeah, Rock Sage. 3 mana Primeval Titan, even better than 6 mana Primeval Titan. Oh yeah. This is a blowout. This is an absolute blowout. I guess I can like stare first in case I find an amulet. I do not. I'm gonna get Sun home because I don't want to make my opponent's paths better. Oh baby. Oh baby. Oh baby. Is this a concession, Rexage? Yes. 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 The concession, Rexage. This is just too great. This is just too great. This is such a good time, guys. This is I'm having fun. I'm having fun. Are you people having fun? Are you people having fun? Cause I'm for sure having a lot of fun right here. Okay. For all the marbles. For the 4-1. Whoops. For the 4-1 greatness. Keep. We have an amulet, we have a green source, we have multiple ways of finding stuff. So we're just... Oh my god! 3 blue-white control players in the same freaking league? This is absurd. I guess I'm taking the chance to resolve Amulet under counter magic here. Wow! Why is there so much control of Magic Online? What's wrong with people? That's a good to have kind of card right there. It's probably not gonna be insane, but it's gonna be alright. This is a really tough choice. I think I wanted T-West. T-West can turn both into a prime time, or it can also turn into a cavern, or it can also turn into another bounce land should I need to. I guess I stare here. Yeah, that's a good one. Do I bait my opponent's Field of Ruin? I don't think I play into the Field of Ruin yet. I will play into the Field of Ruin later, but not now. So my opponent knows about these 2 cards. Split them like this. Yep, just my opponent not doing anything that turn is pretty good for me. No. Okay, I thought I had F6 for a second. So I guess here I play T West, somewhat enticing my opponent to Field of Ruin me. But then I pass the turn. So that's the one my opponent knows about. I guess they're going to suspect that I have a second one because I'm playing that one out, but you know, it's fine. 4 mana, what, Cryptic? If they Cryptic bounce my Amulet, I am really happy. Yep, that's great for me. That is great for me. I'm not even... I didn't even notice, but by playing it this way instead of playing the bounce land, I was actually playing around discarding to hand size, which is really funny when you play around things without even noticing. Yes, this very much resolves. So I am going to do... Oh, I cannot do this yet, I guess. Okay, so I'm just gonna play it slow. I'm going to start playing a little bit faster now. Again, the usual thing. Clock considerations. I guess my opponent feels me right now because I don't have an Amulet anymore. So they don't want me to use this mana. This is the way they're cutting me from the most amount of mana. Draw step. Nope. Okay. So they just let me transmute. Cool. Good for me. Good for me. Gonna get a pact first. And then I guess I'm getting a gemstone as an... I'm playing a gemstone as an extra blue source. In case I need to pact something like a Teferi or something. That's an Amulet. And my opponent cannot snap Cryptic. Sure, I'll take it. I guess they're gonna not this, which I'm also okay with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They cannot... Yep, okay, that resolved. That's cool. They cannot snap counter there. That's why I just slammed that Amulet. Like there was no tomorrow. Now they are going to field me. Yep. That's okay. It might actually have been correct for them to field my Tolaria West over my bounce land. Search for a Skanta does not matter. Oops. Okay. So I guess I can get really got here. So I can just play it safe. So I can just play it safe and transmit for a cavern here. I think I'm actually quite interested in doing this. Cavern of Souls. I actually am going to play the Rex Sage here. Or am I not? Do I want to jam into a... Because I don't think I'm interested in my opponent being able to flip this as Kanta. Do I jam Rex Sage? Nah, I think I'm just gonna jam Sakura Drive Scout. If they want to use a counterspell here, I'm really happy about that. And they would even if it's logic not, they need to like... Okay. So no flipping Ascanta, because this is resolving. So no Ascanta flip is good for me, because I get to blow it up next turn. Interesting to note, Shaman Tribe Scout is a Shaman, Rex Sage is a Shaman. So the thing that no, the way that things kind of overlap is scout is a scout, and tracker is also scout. So if you want to play a tribe scout, it's almost always correct to name scout with the. So now I cannot pay for this pact, so this has to resolve. That one is huge. That one is actually pretty huge. Is my opponent gonna tap out? They play their land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's actually really good for me. That is actually really good for me because that's the least important of the two. The other one is way more important. Ancestral, that's cute. Yeah, that's not a relevant card. That is not a relevant card. Cool. So now we're going to play a prime time. We're gonna be able to attack with it. We don't even need to play this cavern yet, so we can hold it. So we can play it for construct later in the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just gonna play a basic forest. Summoner's Pact. Primeval Titan. 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. Yes. So this Primeval Titan will probably go after Jace. Or wait a second. I'm definitely getting Stronghold plus Vesuva, I guess. No, I don't have enough land drops. Yeah, so I'm getting Stronghold plus Good Old Turf, I think. And I definitely want to play Rex Sage this turn, so I can blow up that as... I think I'm gonna bog. I think I'm gonna bog him. Okay, so Stronghold. Let me go copy this. And I'm gonna bounce the Vesuva here because this is both a bounce land, so I can play around things with Tribe Scout. This is also I want to kill that Jace. This is also a blue source if I need to pact something. And yeah, so this gives me like the most value, I guess. It's kind of like a wild card. I can do whatever I want with it depending on what the situation calls for. Bog you. Maybe I should be transmitting for a T-West here. I don't know. So Jay's down. My opponent is down 2 Cryptics. That's pretty huge. Steerings. For actually, Colony Garden can be a little bit annoying for my opponent here. And I have 7 cards in hand, so no need to discard. Otherwise, I was going to activate, you know, Tribe Scout, so I don't need to discard, you know. What? I think my opponent just messed up. Oh, they had back-to-back Terminus. Oh, they put them back with Jace. That makes a lot of sense, actually. That makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I guess I fucked up. This was a mistake for me, now that I think of it. I'm gonna pack this, see what my opponent does. But now I'm left with no threat. I should have thought about this possibility when my opponent just like played and brainstormed immediately. I should have thought of this being a possibility. That was not tight play on my side. I should have definitely tried to set up the next Primeval Titan. And of note, you know, here I don't have enough blue sources, or it looks like I don't have enough blue sources, but I have Gemstone Mine, and I can also play Gemstone Mine on my own upkeep. Play Vesuva in my own upkeep to have even another blue source. So even if my opponent goes like, ha 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 ha, I bounce your blue source, you're gonna die to your pact. That's not the case. I only die specifically to Field of Ruin and Cryptic. It has to be both cards. And it has to be exactly those two cards. Because I can beat double Field of Ruin. Oh, I guess that also beats me. Yep, I don't think I guess this also beats me. Damn it. So I guess when I bounced the Gemstone Mine, I was actually kind of like killing myself there. That's bad. So that resolves. And now they're going to like field me or Cryptic, one of my blue sources. Yep, they have the Cryptic for the blue source. Yeah, that was my bad. I got a little bit too carried away. Yep, I messed up. And my opponent played correctly. So that was embarrassing. So that was embarrassing. I should not have bounced that Gemstone Mine right there. That was bad. That was real bad. That was really bad. Yep, this is the setup that I've been running post board, and has felt okay. Maybe because I side out a land, I side out an amulet, and I don't have like any stuff that I really want to get that's colorless. Maybe I should be siding out one of the steerings. But I think steerings is just better than amulet overall in this matchup. Okay, so I punted that game one really hard. If I do not, let me think. So what I should have done is, I already have a bounce land in my hand. So what I want to be doing is I want to get Tolaria West plus Bog. That exiles my opponent's yard, and that also gives me another Titan. So when my opponent terminuses me, or however you say that, when my opponent terminuses me, if any of these were a cavern, I would keep. I guess I could transmit for once, so I'll keep. So yeah, that was just a, you know, plain mistake. There's no other way around it. Just a really bad mistake. Really bad misplay on my part. And there's not really any excuse. It was just poor play on my part, and I was rightfully punished. And there's always things, that's the beauty about this deck, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy about playing it, is that this deck rewards tight play, and it severely punishes misplays. So it's very cool in that sense. It kind of forces you to get better, or otherwise you will just lose a lot. And that's what just happened. Even though I've been playing the deck for like over 3 years, sometimes you still make some small tiny mistakes here and there, and you get severely punished by them. And this was an amazing draw. So there's no need for me to play into anything here. So I'll see what my opponent does. I'm holding a Garul Turf, a bounce land, in case my opponent does something broken next turn. If my opponent happens to tap out, they're basically dead. If they do not tap out, then I get to still, play the slow game. and we even have Bojukebok to slow them down, and eventually I will, if I draw another bounce land, I can go ahead and transmute these Toleria West for one of my 2 caverns, or just, you know, just naturally draw one of my 2 caverns, and then just start resolving prime time from there and take it home. Yep, so here I'm just going to flash in a forest. No big surprises here. That's pretty freaking good. Okay, blue, 1. Now I'm gonna get Cavern of Souls. My opponent has exactly Vendilion Click. I get absolutely wrecked, but they should be fine otherwise. And I'm playing these right now because I want to, you know, I don't want to miss a land drop this turn. If my opponent plays a Field of Ruin, I will not activate Tribe Scout end of turn, and if my opponent paths the Scout right now, I'm actually going to flash in the Gruul Turf and bounce my Cavern in order to protect it. But I think it's safe right here. The only thing I don't want is for my opponent to have Vendilion Click. That's like literally, I think, the only card that punishes me. Okay, everything else should be fine. My opponent's taking their sweet time over there. I understand the last turn they were just going over all the different possibilities, and they found the right line. Like my opponent actually played really well on the previous game. That was very, very well navigated, my opponent. And I was rewarded for rushing a little bit too much. I was punished for rushing a little bit too much and not considering like the exact sequence of cards that my opponent has. So this is good for me. This is cool. Perfectly okay with what's going on right now. I guess my best draw would be Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce would be really good right here. Okay, so this is fine. It's kind of unfortunate that all my gemstones are losing all their counters, but it should not be a big deal. Here, this is gonna be a defensive prime time, which is gonna get his semi-growth. No, I can actually get double semi-growth here because my opponent cannot punish me for this. So I'm gonna get double semi-growth, and I'm gonna bounce one of the gemstones and the Toleria, I think. And I am going to transmute right now, because that will enable me to be able to play around like counter magic much more effectively. And I'm gonna bounce a gemstone here. So tap some mana, transmute. If my opponent wants to field any of these, I think I'll let it resolve. Unless, I guess if they try to field my cavern, I actually protect it. But if they try to field my semi-growth or something, I let it resolve. I expect Path on my prime time here. Yep. Path is fine. Still not packed in here. I want my opponent to tap lower. Okay, so my opponent has very clearly has some counter magic over there. It's pretty obvious that my opponent has some counter magic over there. That's the draw that I was hoping for. Okay, so now we can take it actually way slower. I am going to lead on Bojukebog, exile my opponent's yard, and probably pass the turn. Again, if my opponent is not accruing card advantage with a planeswalker or something like that, I am the one that has the advantage. So every turn that goes by and I draw cards like Spell Pierce, it's just great for me. It's just awesome for me. So that's why I'm taking it easy. I'm protecting my cavern with the Tribe Scout, so eventually, you know, my opponent will be forced to like waste the path on my scout, and that's when I punish him. But yeah, here the first one that acts is gonna be the one that's gonna be at a disadvantage. And my opponent is missing land drops. That is amazing for me. Still on the same plan. Still on the same plan. I'm ahead on clock. I'm behind on cards in hand, I guess. I'm very much ahead on mana. Tap out for Jace. Ascanta is perfectly fine. So my opponent has very clearly is representing Cryptic Command very heavily. So I am actually going to Pact this turn for a prime time. Spell Queller. Okay. I was definitely not playing around that one. That is for sure. At least I can copy their colonnade. And I can activate colonnade if I want to. Spell Queller. You got me good, opponents. You got me good. I was definitely not playing around Spell Queller. It's actually... Why is my opponent playing Spell Queller, actually? They are a 4 Terminus deck. They are literally a 4 Terminus deck. And they have Spell Queller in their sideboard. This is the kind of things that I don't understand sometimes about some players. Okay, so my opponent is respecting the colonnade. Extra bounce lands. Yeah, sure. So these can now bounce the bog, and I have interaction for bog and just really need a prime time here. Really need a prime time. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Now this is super interesting. Do I save my cavern or do I save my colonnade? I think I save my cavern. My opponent wants to... If my opponent wants to use Field of Ruin on my colonnade, it kind of sucks, but it's something that I can live with. Even though I only have a single Vesuva and 2 caverns. Yeah. So I guess my opponent just cannot play a sweeper for the rest of the game, right? That's kind of like the thing. So I guess that's good for me. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. Anyway, it would be sweet to draw a threat. Any threat whatsoever would be sweet to draw one of those. I hope they attack. No, they don't attack. Okay. So my opponent is being very conservative. I'm gonna counter this one, opponent. I dare you. I double dare you. They cannot logic not this, so they need to waste the Cryptic on a Tribe Scout. And this is why I love Tribe Scout in this matchup. It's just like, it's super innocent, but it just does so much work. It just does so much work in the matchup that it's pretty absurd. It's pretty absurd. Now they activate the field. Okay. They finally fire off the field. So I guess they want to start getting aggressive. And we need to punish their aggressiveness. So I need to draw a threat. Like, I need to draw a threat, otherwise I'm just gonna die. This spell queller really got me. I was playing around Cryptic, but I was not really thinking about playing around spell queller because it just, I mean, it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense, but I guess that's why, you know, my opponent is playing it, because it just doesn't make sense. But because it doesn't make sense, people are not going to play around it, which is exactly what happened in this match, and they're going to get a game from it. So that was cool. I'm actually impressed by my opponent's play. My opponent has been really good. Has played, basically they have played perfectly both games, and it's showing. Threat. I guess that's a threat, but my opponent is not tapped down low enough, so I'm gonna do this. If my opponent has a snap, this kind of forces them to use it right now if they want to get some value. And if my opponent does not have a snap, then their yard dies. Okay. And now it's basically the waiting game. My opponent cannot... I have, you know, quite a bit of time before this spell queller kills me. But my opponent just cannot tap low. And if my opponent does tap low, I'm gonna punish him for it. So this is gonna be the waiting game. Do I draw a Primeval Titan, like actual Primeval Titan, before my opponent kills me with this queller? Can I draw a Ruric Thar? Even Ballista. I would definitely play Ballista on this board. Meaning an uncounterable Ballista. Okay. This can probably find me a Ballista, maybe? My opponent already went through 2 Cryptics. I expect at least 1 more Cryptic in their list. Potentially 2. Sure, I'll take Second Cavern. I will take Second Cavern here. I'm not gonna play it though. All 4 Gemstone Mines. That's cool. The minute my opponent taps out, I am pacting. And I'm saving Ghost Quarter because I think that this search flipping is actually a bigger threat than any of these colonnades. My opponent does not seem like he's in a rush to flip that search though. And that's the reason why. Because that's actually a pretty good draw for them. So I take 2 here. And that's a Primeval Titan. And this is how this game usually goes, you know, it's just bound to happen. Eventually, I will draw him. And when I do, it's gonna be good. I guess I'll do this. Primeval Titan in the house. I guess I'm going to go get Stronghold and Tuleria West. So what this does is it forces my opponent to blow up the Stronghold, meaning that my T West is safe potentially. Yep, so this is the decision point. Nope, okay. And I messed it up there. I should have held the red mana from here. It's not really gonna matter, but it might matter down the road. So I assume my opponent has like a really large amount of paths at this point. Yep. So that's a path. That's fine. Okay. This is not terrible. That means that my Stronghold is still alive. Which is of course good for me. Please tap down. No, they do not tap low. Interesting that they did not get my cavern. Oh, they know about the second one? Is that what? Yeah, they know about both. So that explains why they didn't get my cavern. So we still have 6 more turns to draw more gas. Drawing another Titan would be great here. That is not the worst, I don't think. I'm going to get back Bog here, for sure. This is what I'm interested in replaying. I want to keep dealing with my opponent's graveyard and prevent that search from flipping. Was my opponent F6 there? Was my... Huh. I guess explosives would also be pretty good, because explosives would force a counterspell from their hand, and I can like explosives and pact on the same turn. That's a good one. I guess Spell Snare is yet another reason to not... Okay. With this backed back up, I'm a little bit more interested in doing this. If my opponent attempts to cryptic this, we're in good shape. If they have another Queller, then I'm dead. Negate. Oh, they just have it all. This is very rough. It's very, very rough. So does my opponent side out their Terminus post board? Is that the plan for them? Is that the plan for my opponent post board? Because that would be pretty hilarious. It's also kind of interesting the fact that Rurik is not amazing on this board. Rurik is definitely not amazing here. Yeah, my opponent has been playing perfectly. They actually very much deserve the win, to be honest. I guess Ballista would be my absolute best draw. Ballista would be my absolute best draw. I could Ballista for enough to kill both Quellers, stopping the clock, and actually... So this is actually an innocent steerings that might end up being game winning. Nope, didn't get there. I guess I have one more turn. And I'm still sandbagging this cavern because I don't want my opponent to know that I'm going to be naming construct with it. If my opponent knew that I was looking for a ballista, they probably would have countered that ancient steerings, you know. So if I play another steerings or something like that, I want my opponent to think that it's just not good a good card, and they let it resolve. But yeah, we're literally one draw step away from winning, even though it doesn't look like it. But even if I go down to 2 here, I think Ballista literally wins me the game. Ballista. Another Spell Snare? Yep. Yep, I guess Spell Snare is yet another reason for me to side this out. Give my opponent the GG's. And concede. Another 3-2. The thing is that yes, the short answer is yes, but the long answer is this is literally like the only matchup where I find myself wanting the 4th Tolaria West. And Tolaria West tapping for blue mana is, you know, I think it's way more important to have green sources rather than straight, you know, just blue sources. So that was kind of like a shitty way to end the stream, honestly. We beat blue-white control twice in games where I think I played really well. And then the very last matchup, I lost game 1 because I played very poorly. And then I lost the second game because my opponent just they basically played perfectly, and their Spell Queller Cyborg plan is actually incredibly good against us in particular. Spell Queller is a really hard card for us to beat, but still it's one of those cards that blue-white control players won't really bring in against you. So honestly, if I were, let's say that I win that game too, I think I bring in both the Braids for game. Actually, I think probably Dismember is better. Dismember deals with Colonnade and it deals with Queller, and a Braid gets countered by Spell Snare, which my opponent also showed me. It's a good question. To be honest, I just don't think that this is the case in most matches. I think that the control matchup is sweet. I think the matchup is amazing, and it really it really shows whether you are it really rewards skill from both sides, both from the Amulet player and from the control player. The control matchup is actually super interesting. There's a lot of counterplay. There's a lot of you know, gear changing. Okay, it's like you are the control deck, you're the control deck, you're the control deck, until your opponent taps out and you're actually now the aggro / tempo deck, and you try to get as many you know, hits in order to set up either, you know, a primetime kill like it happened in the first 2 matches, or set up like a very large walking ballista that you just you know, play for like 12 or something, and you just, you know, your opponent took some chip shots here and there, and then you just win. So even when, you know, that the last match was very interesting because of that. You know, my opponent was playing around Tribe Scout. Tribe Scout was the MVP both of those games. My opponent was forced into very awkward plays because I had just an untapped Tribe Scout in play. And that is one of those things. Sometimes the correct play is for you to leave Tribe Scout out, you know, untapped there. Sometimes you need to, since turn 3 or 4, be planning for, you know, playing a ballista for 12 on turn 9 or 10 or 15. And in that kind of, you know, in that case, actually the chip shots that you get in with Tribe Scout in the early game and actually super relevant. You know. And yes, I honestly think that Tracker does what Witness would be doing, except way better. Because Tracker draws you cards, so it actually grows the amount of cards that you have in your hand if it goes unchecked, whereas Witness just basically gets the best card in your graveyard, so it's more of a late game card. Tracker can come down on turn 2 or 3, and it needs to be dealt with. If it's not dealt with, it just wins the game. Not only because it draws. I finished games against Control where I drew Tracker drew me like 8+ cards, and my opponent has like a Jace and a Teferi in play, and I'm just keeping up because I played a Tracker early in the game, and that Tracker drew me like, I have like 8 clues in play or something. And also Tracker wins the game. It's not uncommon to have like a 7/6 Tracker that's swinging for 7 every turn, and your opponent is just like, they have no graveyard and they are just like flashing in, ambush vipers with no death touch in order to chump the Tracker because they are dying to it otherwise. So Tracker in the Control matchup, and that's where I really. We played against 3 Control decks that league. A full 3 Control deck, all of them straight blue-white. Okay, and I really, really miss Tracker. I think in all of those games, if we had had a Tracker in my list, I think it's very likely that we won 2 of the matches, but I think it's actually quite likely that that I win game, post even game 1, because I would be running the Tracker in my main over an Explore, and if that's the case. Instead of having like a stupid Explorer, I have a game-winning threat. So maybe that's what I want to try for next time, which is not gonna be today because I have some songs that I need to learn for a show tomorrow. So I need to go practice those. But probably it's gonna be next Monday. Next Monday we're gonna go back to this because I've actually really enjoyed the sideboard. There's no messing around in the board. Like, every card has a purpose, and I actually really enjoy this. I've been kind of digging the 3 forest 1 grove split. I have not been playing into that many Blood Moon decks on Magic Online, so I'm not. I don't think that maybe the 4th forest is worth it. Against blue-white, to be fair, the 4th forest is really, really good. So there's that. We played against 3 blue-white decks today. But against humans, which we actually played today, having red mana for a Brave and Sweepers is huge. And, against like random things like Death Shadow and stuff like that, it can be really good. So probably what I'm going to try out next time is this. And depending on how things go, I might even run a second Tracker here over the 1 Baloth. I'm not sure about that though, because burn is always there. But against like Jund and against Mardu Pyro and decks like that, actually, I think Tracker is, and against Control specifically, I think Tracker is way better than Baloth. The problem is that it kind of feels bad to side out to play 1 less Explorer when you're playing Tracker. Like, Tracker gets way better when you have the full set of Explorers, because you can on turn 2 play an Explorer, and then on the following turn you can play Tracker and immediately play land right after. But yeah, so it's a lot of things to consider, but that's why we play Amulet, because the deck is awesome and it's extremely customizable, and the deck is awesome. Sweet, so that's gonna be it for me today, and that's gonna be it for me for this week. I will for sure be back next Monday. I think, if you guys didn't notice, in my channel page I uploaded a stream schedule. So I'm gonna be I'm gonna be streaming on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. And those are gonna be like more my for sure days. I am going to for sure be streaming on those days. And then I'm going to, like, yesterday and today I did not have to very often I have to like drive to San Diego to play shows over there. I play over there a lot. So I usually drive to San Diego on like Thursday morning, which denies me of streaming on Thursdays. And also, when I'm there over there, I'm in my parents' house, and it's very tough to stream over there. I have not tried it yet. I might try it next time. But so maybe I can, get in there a Friday stream or something. But usually when I go over there, I teach a lot of lessons anyway, so I'm busy, and I just don't have the time to stream. So it's gonna be Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, 10 a.m. LA time, which I think is Pacific time, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, so we're gonna be streaming Amulet a lot, because Amulet is Amulet, and it's great. We're gonna be streaming Legacy as well, Maverick and stuff like that. And when we make it to 100 followers, we're gonna play this beauty. In case you guys didn't see it earlier, this is prime time in Legacy. I saw this list 5-0 in the Legacy leagues, and I saw that it had a full playset of my boy over here. And the immediate thing that I thought was, yep, I have to run this at some point. The only issue that this list has is that I don't have show and tells, so I would need to, spend like between 60 and 80 tickets for this, and I just did not bring myself to doing it yet. So I'm just waiting till I hit the 100 follower mark, and when I do it, I'm gonna bite the bullet, and we're gonna probably be playing some of this. But yeah, until then, thank you guys for hanging out, and I will see you next Monday. Hope you have a great weekend, and see you soon.